name's Scott Bibb. I'm the Assistant Director here at the Street Department. I've been with our department for 35 years, 8 years as the Assistant Director. I basically handle the day-to-day operations, administrative work downstairs, and also help with the paving. We have 89 positions here at our department when fully staffed. I think we have 5 openings. Chris will talk about that in a minute. We have 4 core functions at our department. We do drainage, we have paving, we have a traffic control division, and we have right-of-way maintenance. So we need all of our employees, and actually we need more than we have. So we're glad you're with us, and I'll let Chris speak about some of the other openings we have.
Thanks, Scott. My name is Chris Cowan. I'm the Senior Engineering Manager here at the Street Department. I've been here for a little over 12 years at the Street Department. Began primarily as traffic engineer, and so I'm still over the traffic division here at the Street Department, as well as the engineering division up here. We have, just to talk a little bit about, as far as the traffic division goes, that's responsibility over street signs, traffic signals, and pavement markings throughout the city. And we have a limited staff, but that's spread pretty thin, but we have a lot of good qualified individuals and who work really hard, and we've got definitely some openings that we could use some assistance in. I should mention, Scott talked about that we have currently 5 openings at this time, and we have one position that is for a traffic control specialist, which is maintains traffic signals, helps us maintain street lights, but is also involved in all kinds of activities relating to traffic. It could be pavement markings, it could be setting up construction work zones, it could be doing any number of other activities, but the traffic signals and streetlights are their primary function. That position, again, we have one of those, and I should say that all the positions I believe we have open at this time that I'm going to mention here are require a commercial driver's license as a certification. We understand as far as the traffic control specialist, where we'd like to have somebody that has been maintaining traffic signals for years, and but there aren't very many of those people out there. So we're certainly open to bringing people in and training them into that position if they have good background and experience and a commercial driver's license, maybe experience just in roadway or any sort of construction activity, as well as is a good transition for that position. We have 2 other positions that are available. One is a senior equipment operator. We have 2 of those positions actually open currently, and we have 2 positions that are equipment operator positions. Scott, do you want to talk about each of those positions and maybe say a little bit about what you're looking for in each of those?
Well, a senior equipment operator, basically some of the equipment that they may run would be a backhoe, maybe a loader, paver, a dozer, really any heavy equipment. Our truck driver / equipment operator will be some of your smaller equipment, perhaps a street sweeper, tractors, of course, truck drivers. So again, these are positions that do require a CDL license, at least a Class B driver's license. So, again, we have two of those openings each. So, if anybody has any questions.
Well, before we get to questions, I got one other thing that we do have sort of a continuous openings, I believe, listed for what I would say is like the ground floor at that street department.
Yes.
For people who don't have any experience and don't have a commercial driver's license and but are just looking for a foot in the door.
That's true, Chris.
And those positions are grounds facilities maintenance folks. And we also have some seasonal positions that we hire during the spring, summer, fall time. They're a part-time position, but it's part-time for ground facilities maintenance. From those positions, very often, we allow people to gain experience with working here at the street department and then get some experience and potentially even to obtain their commercial driver's license and be ready to fill those next positions when they become available. And so for some folks, that's a good foot in the door opportunity that we have a continual kind of flow of people that retire or who get promoted and into new positions, and which create openings and people move up the food chain here via that avenue. So I did want to mention that those positions are also some that we're always looking to get resumes in for. So
you're exactly right. That's how a lot of our equipment operators started at the bottom level and learned how to drive. So you're exactly right, Chris. Thanks for bringing that up.
I think that's all we had. If there's any specific questions that folks have about opportunities here at the street department, any specific jobs, or any questions, we'd be happy to address those.
And I will just interject very briefly, the senior equipment operators are not on the site at this time, but that is definitely something that we can get up and running if you need that. So if that was one of the positions that you're interested in and you go to the website today and you don't see it, don't fear, we will get that up. Probably not tomorrow, but by Monday. There's just a little process that we have to do on the back end. So that would definitely be up. It may not be opportune to say this, and I'll ask if there aren't questions that the department speak a little bit more about it, but the grounds and the equipment, those are positions that we have in more than one department. There is some levels to both the ground series and the equipment series. So while a department never wants to lose an individual, we would definitely love to keep them with City of Clarksville. So if there's an opportunity to move up with another department, then we do like to promote from within. So even if you work entry-level grounds for a while and there's not room to move up within the street department, there may be some room within another department at the next level. So be encouraged for that. There are multiple positions throughout the city that if you want to make your home and your career with the city, that is an option. So please give us whatever questions that you have.
I've got a question. If you guys can hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. How is your insurance based as far as medical insurance and things like that for family being like holding the CDL position? Do you guys pay for the CDL renewal? So I currently have one. I've got it until 2025, but just kind of going forward, kind of what to expect with
like if you don't have one, we won't pay for the test, but once you acquire your license, we'll reimburse you. So if you have one and if you came to our department and you came due next year, we would pay for your renewal.
Okay.
Tessa, will you speak on benefits, please?
What's the question on insurance?
Kyle, were you asking a question as far as insurance for driving a CDL or like the benefits that are offered through the city of Clarksville for medical?
Just the benefits that go along with it. I didn't know if it was different between each department or if it's just city. I work for Metro Nashville, so I know all of ours are completely different. So just wanted to get some more information on that.
Tessa,
Okay.
that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the city of Clarksville utilizes, all of our departments utilize the same insurance aside from CDE. They're a little bit separate, they have their own. But as far as like street department, gas and water, any other department within the city, we all have the exact same benefits package where the city offers you medical, pharmacy, dental, and vision insurance, as well as a $15,000 employer paid life insurance policy for yourself. There is also some supplemental products that you can enroll in during open enrollment. They also offer TCRS for Consolidated Retirement System. Metro might participate in TCRS already. So if you're already a member, you would just pick up right there. The next thing that they offer is a 401k and 457B plan through Empower Retirement. All of those are offered to all full-time city employees. We also have a health and wellness clinic that is offered to full-time employees, whether you are on our insurance or not. You do not have to be a member. As long as you're an employee, you can utilize our health and wellness clinic. It is located just behind Parks and Rec, kind of in the downtown Clarksville area. If you have children and dependents on your plan, they can also utilize the clinic only if they are on our medical insurance. But if you choose to opt out of that, you can still participate in that clinic. They just cannot unless they're on our insurance.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah. I'm gonna add to that with the clinic. So at first, I'll be honest, when we got the clinic, I wasn't that crazy about the idea until I actually visited the clinic. So here's the experience. If you go to Premier or to your regular doctor, you have an appointment, you got to get an appointment, you get an appointment, you go. How often do you actually get seen at the time that you have your appointment, unless it's the first appointment of the day? So you end up spending quite a bit of time there. You may be rushed through. And then if you have to get some medication, you got to get a prescription, wait for it to be called in, or take it to whatever pharmacy you're going to have it filled, pay for that and get on your merry way. With the clinic, it is not a walk-in clinic, so you do need an appointment. But once you get an appointment, you can go to your appointment during working hours. You don't have to take leave time for that. Whatever you need at the clinic or do at the clinic is not going to be, you're not going to have any charges for that whatsoever. If you're on a maintenance medication, I'm on some of those. When I make my appointment there, I go, I pick up my medications right there. I don't pay a dime for that. Fortunately, I'm close enough to the clinic that if I had to, I could walk to it. I make an appointment, I go, I see my physician, I see the nurse, not physician, we have nurse practitioner now, but I see the healthcare provider, I get my medications, I'm back in the office all within, say, 30 minutes, and it's not cost me a dime. So that it's a very different experience. I love the clinic. I try to use it outside of any other doctor as much as I can. And so I think that's a huge benefit. Sometimes people don't understand how valuable that is with your time and your pocketbook. And then if you didn't quite catch it, with the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement, the city is actually funding that retirement for you. So if you end up working for the city for at least 5 years to be vested, even if you have a break in service, when you retire, you are going to get some type of pension. Will it be enough for you to live off? Probably not. But the fact that you are going to continue to get that pension from then, from the time you retire and are eligible until, unfortunately, you're no longer on the earth, that's a huge benefit, I think, at least. So we also have some options where you can fund another retirement in addition to that on your own, but the TCRS is fully funded by the city of Clarksville. The only difference in our benefits overall is for police and fire, because they have a mandatory retirement age for sworn personnel. Their TCRS benefit is funded a little bit higher to just bridge that gap between when they have to retire and when they would probably pick up Social Security. So.
Okay, great. I got one more question. With the retirement, how do they do? Do they do like a point system to get in, or like many years, like 30 years?
Once you've been in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System for 5 years, you're vested. And so if you leave the city of Clarksville after 5 years, once you are eligible to pull from retirement, which at this point in time, it would be age 55, or 25 to 30 years of service, depending on which sort of service retirement you would go with, then you'll have something to pull from. After you've been with this, if you're already in a TCRS system, there's no waiting period for the city to begin funding your retirement. If you are not already in the TCRS system, just someone off the street does not have any sort of service with them, you would have to wait 6 months before the city would begin funding your retirement. I hope that answers your question.
Am I right to say, Tessa, that you're eligible to start receiving retirement benefits at a certain age or after you've been working with the city for 20 years? Is there do you know those numbers?
Yeah, so if you've got 20 years and you're age 55, TCRS will allow you to start drawing from retirement. You've got to meet one of those criteria though. So if you're not age 55, then you'll have to have a few more years of service before they'll let you start to pull. It would be 25 years if you're not age 55, whichever comes first. Some people are waiting until they've met that eligibility period as far as service, and they're not quite at the age, but TCRS will allow you to do an early retirement.
I'm giving away a little bit too much information, but there's an age and a service requirement. If you do not meet both of those, then it's a reduced retirement. So I can retire today, but it's not going to be funded as highly as if I would go ahead and wait until I'm 60 to retire.
Right.
And Sheila, did you mention early on, I know that one of the benefits working with the city, we do get, I believe it's 12 paid holidays now are paid for as well.
Yes, we didn't mention that. And technically 11, but I believe council has gone ahead and approved that 12th one. So when the date rolls around, we'll get that. But yes, we do get all of the major holidays. We get vacation time. You get basically a day a month for vacation. And then after you've been here for 10 years, each year over 10, you get an extra day of vacation. So when your anniversary rolls around, which mine just did, you get extra days of vacation, which I love. You are allowed to keep up to 240 hours of vacation leave in your bank. Anything over that, if you do not use it, then it's going to roll into a sick account. But you have to retire to be able to use your sick leave towards retirement. So for instance, because I know that I'm going to retire from the city, then any vacation leave that would roll over to sick for me is just going to give me more years or more time of service for my retirement. If you have sick leave and you leave the city for any other reason other than retirement, you forfeit that. The vacation will be paid out for you up to that 240 hours, regardless of how you leave. So that's good for that.
Thank you, Sheila. I thought that was a good benefit to mention. I know that no one asked that yet, but I thought that was a good opportunity to be aware of.
Yes, it's excellent. And the sick leave there's no cap on it. So for Scott, I don't want to get into his business, but he's been here for 35 years. I would guess that he probably has well over 1,000 hours of sick leave, maybe even 2,000. So if he does not use that before he retires, that will be converted into months of service. I don't know what the math would be right off my head, but I would say probably another 6-8 months of service that he would add on to his tenure with the department. And what that translates to is basically more money in his retirement paycheck each month than if he didn't have those years or that time of sick leave.
Right.
Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody with that.
Sheila, I'm not sure, but to Mr. Krupp's question, the formula for retirement has something to do with a percentage of your salary times number of years of service, something to that effect, right?
Yes,
Yeah, like here, we do like the best of your last 8 or best of your last 5. And it kind of formulates into how your pension's going to be affected.
yes, top 5 here as well. Does anyone have any questions about what the climate is like or what the vibe is like for street department? Is that important to anyone? You know, we have a relaxed environment here. Our director is, I don't want to say he's not businesslike because he is, but he is very easy to work for. He believes in celebrating his employees and constantly telling us we're appreciated. So, you know, the climate, I think, may be a little bit different from street in that they have 89 employees. We have less than 10. So there's some differences there just because we're a much smaller group and, you know, we see each other every day. Street department, their employees are out in the field. You know, they're not going to see each other every single day unless they work together. So would you guys speak a little bit about the climate of the department, what it's like to work for street department?
I'll mention a little bit. You know, one thing we have here, while we're our 89 employees here, you know, we're working, you have people, you have managers working with grounds facilities maintenance and operators and truck drivers, and everybody all kind of is the same team. We feel like that's pretty important, and your role on one project might be a little different on the next project, and we do our best to kind of get along and have a really solid working relationship with everybody. You know, I know from my end, I enjoy working with people that are on the management level all the way down to the guy that's digging the trench to lay the conduit or pull wire into a, you know, light fixture or a traffic signal, because all those jobs are important. All those jobs are critical, and sometimes by us having better interaction like that, they can feel more comfortable asking questions about, well, why do we do it this way? Why is it important that we, whether it's from safety in how to do the job, or, you know, why we use the types of materials we do on our signs so that they're reflective, or why we use, you know, why things are made out of the materials that they are. Scott, did you have anything to add about?
Well, not really, but I'll say that our director, David Shepard, and myself, David's been here for 41 years. I've been here for 35. We both started at the bottom, so we're familiar. We've done everything. We started at the bottom, both of us, and moved up over the years. So that kind of tells you the opportunities that you may have here. We're starting to get a little long in the tooth now, both of us. So, but yeah, so we're really familiar with the day-to-day operations and know what a lot of the jobs that they do daily consist of. So if you're interested in becoming part of our team, we're certainly interested in having you. So, but yeah, it's just I think everybody here gets along pretty well, and I think it's something. I couldn't speak to where you're at now, but I think everybody here gets along well.
And I will say that many of our jobs, it's something different every day. You know, there's certain positions I know that you will do very similar tasks daily, but there is a lot of different types of activity throughout the year, throughout the seasons, even daily, that comes up. You didn't know you were going to be working on a certain activity or in a certain part of town, but we end up doing that based on demands and safety concerns, perhaps. So it's definitely will keep you on your toes, I think.
I've got one more, if y'all don't mind. What's your current turnover rate as far as being in those positions there?
As far as, well, I can say that there are a lot of people here at the street department who choose to retire here. We have a lot of people who've been here, like David and Scott and several others that are, managers, that are senior equipment operators, that are higher level positions that have been here for a very long time. And those have been retiring, have been, moving on, creating openings, opportunities for others to move up. I think that we have a lot of people that choose that path to continue to move up as openings occur. Now, we're certainly open to, helping people that when opportunities occur at other city departments. Sheila mentioned, gas and water, maybe Department of Electricity, different other departments, that Parks and Rec, that could have openings that would provide somebody an opportunity. We're willing to support that too. All those things I think are, something that we're not afraid of. But I think we've got pretty good retention rate as far as that goes. But
we do. And like I said, when we lose somebody, it's generally to another department. It's not a whole lot of people that are disgruntled and leave, that they just find maybe a better opportunity for them in another department or somewhere in town. But nobody usually leaves because they're unhappy with their job. It's just something they found better, perhaps somewhere else.
And we've had just in that same regard, we've hired people from other departments too. Here lately, we've taken several from our building and codes department. He's a little unhappy with me because I took them too many at once, but I think we certainly understand that happens. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say too, we have just a few more minutes. We've only talked about in the street department some of the hands-on, but they don't have openings in these areas right now, but they also have admin positions as well. So they have a small admin support staff. Do you want to mention that in case anybody's interested in that?
We have, I believe, 4 administrative people here. Is that right, Scott? Total. We have 1 in the engineering division up here, and we have 3 downstairs that support most of the daily operations. Those folks do everything from, taking phone calls, taking complaints from the public or concerns, and then passing those on to our supervisor positions to get back in touch with them and try to address their issues, whether it's drainage or pavement condition or traffic operations related. But that's a big responsibility for those folks. We do a lot of record keeping with the types of work that we do, so we can always go back and find how we addressed a problem or situation in the past. This isn't the first. Usually when we get a complaint about something, it's not the first time we've been there. It's not the first time we've heard that. And so that's good for us to be able to track that data. We use a lot of the computer software from our IT department as well to assist us with that. Scott, you got anything else on the admin?
Yeah, without the people up front, we couldn't do our jobs, I can tell you that. We depend heavily on them, and they do a great job for us. So I think there may be a few openings coming up in the next few months in that division too. So
definitely keep an eye out.
yes,
If that's something that someone's interested in, that could happen in the next, like in the months ahead. We're always looking at it.
Looks like Dustin has his hand up. Dustin, if you don't mind unmuting yourself and asking whatever question you have. There you go. I don't know how we put his hand down. Sorry.
You have to unmute yourself though.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having me today. My name's Dustin. I'm from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. I got a couple of questions. Currently, I work out of Nashville for Stansel Electric. We do metro and rural areas, and we get called some of us after hours for storm work and stuff like that. I was wondering if you guys had shift work or if that's some things that you put certain guys on call that are closer to the areas. And also, currently Stansel Electric offers the 4-year schooling for journeymen, which I know this is an electrical company, but they also send guys through traffic signal school, and stuff like that. Do y'all offer that through the company?
Well, I'll talk first about those with the position that we have. Oh yeah, I'm on, sorry. The position we have open for a traffic control specialist, absolutely. We believe in training as very important. And we have as a requirement of someone coming in to be able to obtain their IMSA certification. That's a state, you may be familiar with that, having worked for Stansel. But we do send our technicians to training, formalized training. Usually it's a week's worth or 3 to 5 days worth of, I think it is a whole week training to acquire those certifications and keep those renewed. A lot of our technicians, I think, are level 1 or level 2 certified, and we require level 1, but definitely encourage folks to when those opportunities come around that we will do that. The city pays for that training. Obviously your time is paid for as well. We definitely look for those opportunities. Certification in work zone safety and some electrical certification, streetlight work. I guess we have some certifications we've done as well on those. Those aren't required, but we do require the traffic signal technician certification.
Do you just pay overtime for call outs after hours or comp time?
Yes.
How does that work?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed that part of the first part of his question. He did mention overtime. Here we do have somebody designated as on call 24/7, 365 days a year. And so for this particular position, traffic control specialist, someone who is in that position, once they've been here long enough and we feel like that they are capable of handling that, we rotate that between the people in that position. We have, I think, currently 5 or maybe 6 people that rotate that responsibility, that they're on call for a week. So they take a phone home with them, and they are, if an emergency happens and someone from the public calls in about a traffic signal got knocked down, or there's wires in the road, or some sort of a traffic safety concern, our on-call person would respond and then bring in other personnel should that be necessary, vehicles and equipment as necessary. But we always have at least one person that's on call. I think there's 2 on-call people with street department, one for general right-of-way and drainage maintenance issues, and then one for traffic specific issues. So this position would eventually move into that level of responsibility. We certainly don't ask that of the people when they first get here. They have to sort of demonstrate ability to take on that level of responsibility and handle those sorts of issues.
All right, thank you, guys.
And just to go, just in general, not just for those on-call personnel, but there are times throughout a year when storm events happen, when snow happens. Everyone at the street department is eligible or potential for being on call. It can be. It's kind of an all hands on deck when certain situations arise. Obviously, people who have their CDLs, those are in high demand. We have to have certain people available to drive trucks and to those sorts of activities. But that's something that we work out prior to those events, so people who are going to be looked to when those events happen.
I've got one more. Sorry, guys.
It's all right.
No, don't apologize. We're happy that you're asking questions.
Does the department offer any kind of boot allowance or clothing allowance or any kind of thing like that?
We do have uniforms and we have a boot allowance up to $125 a year on boots.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Do we have other questions? We're out of time for the session, but we do have time built in between. So if there are any other questions, we can entertain those before we get started with the next session in a few more minutes.
Yes, ma'am. I have a quick question.
Sure.
I know this kind of sounds, it's kind of redundant because I know it goes back to what you and Tessa talked about earlier. So I did apply for actually I got the list of jobs that Clarksville has at the job fair on Fort Campbell, I think last week. So I did apply for, I think, the grounds facility maintenance assistant, because it was said, I was just trying to get my foot into the door. I did application, submit a resume, just being in the Army for 10 years and then going to school to be like a strength conditioning coach, but COVID had other plans. So I've kind of had to, reroute my life for a little bit. So, I'm just, concerned about I know I don't really, on my resume and application doesn't really show anything driver's license, being an operator or doing any kind of construction, anything like that. So I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. So I'm not sure how long. I know you guys talked about how long resumes get looked at or what they're looking for. Because I don't mind doing grunt work. I don't mind picking crap off the side of the road. I'm just trying to get my foot in the door and just start working again. That's pretty much it.
Is it Dietrich? Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, ma'am, Dietrich.
Okay, yes. So I will apologize and I will take full responsibility. Just between the job fair last week and getting this up and running and some other projects, I've been totally hands-off on applications since the job fair. So I will pick that back up next week. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen tomorrow either. But for those people that we know attended job fairs, we're going to be paying close attention to those applications, and there will be some follow-up regardless. So if you'll just sit tight, I've jotted your name down and I will be looking at your application and following up, not only with the generic emails that we send to everyone, but you're probably going to get some personal email interaction from me, whether it be to set up anything or even if not, just so that you know that, yes, we have paid attention to you being here and your desire to work for the department. And I will say there was someone, I don't think it's anybody on here, but it was a totally different position, accounting. Just so you know, if you see the same job title that's posted for different departments, go ahead and apply for every department that you're interested in, because one thing that we do not do is cross recruit or use the same applications that applied for one job over here to another. That's not to say that we won't ever reach out to an applicant and say, hey, maybe you wouldn't be okay for this position here, but this department is looking, and maybe apply for that as well. But don't take it for granted that because you applied for one accounting position, that every accounting position that's open at that time, that we're going to look at your resume for that. We only look at the resumes and applications for the position that you have applied for.
Thank you, ma'am. I was just just wondering how long it usually takes. That's all. I'm finishing up my school stuff right now anyway. And I did apply for that one and also the fire department as well. So my name is out there into the system, and I've been kind of bothering them a little bit as well as regards to what do I need to do to get prepared mentally and physically.
Yeah, I will be looking at those. For fire, I know that we've had over 100 applicants. I have done absolutely nothing with fire other than to send an email, and that particular email, this is the first time that I've ever done it, says that, yes, we've received your application. It's going to be a while before you hear back from us, but sit tight and know that you will. There are some things that I'm going to wait for the fire department. They only hire typically once a year, they only recruit once a year. Last year, we have a relatively new fire chief, and he did something different and actually put on a training session. So applicants were, it wasn't required, but they were welcome to come to that training session. It did not do a complete simulation of what you're tested on, but they had multiple sections. So physically prepared, that helped out a lot. It was a huge success, and they're going to do that again. So you will get information as an applicant about that process as well. But unfortunately, just because of all the things that are going on, and I think I mentioned recruiting it's just one part of my job. There are other things. So I have not been able to devote the time that I would normally devote to the applications. Typically, I like to look at those at least a couple, 3 times a week. And then also depending on the position and what the urgency is, you know, that department may get a little bit more of my time than the others, but it has been noted. I know your name now. And when I see your application, I'll know who you are.
Yes, ma'am. They did send me a message, ma'am, because I did call the chief and I did message them on Facebook. If I want something, I go get it. So I know they're having a training in, I think, July, and I printed off a study guide from the Nashville PD, because I'm assuming like in the military, you have to take ASVAB tests, but I know every branch has a different like structure of it. So I'm assuming that the structure is kind of the same for all fire departments, I'm guessing. So that's just what I'll be doing in the meantime. But I am tracking July or June that they're doing some kind of like training for applicants and stuff.
Yes, perfect. And there is a study guide. I have that. And so you will receive that as an applicant as well, their own personal study guide. So, and definitely fire is going to be one of the later ones this afternoon. Definitely make sure that you come back for that.
Yes, ma'am.
So if we don't have any other questions, we're going to hop off because transit is our next. And I saw that Scott was in. I'm sure he's ready to go. So any last minute questions, speak or forever hold your peace. All right, I want to thank all of you. Hopefully you're coming back for other sessions, and if not, definitely for the closing session. But in case you aren't, I do want to mention that we're going to reach out to you as an attendee, asking you what positions that you have applied for or you intend to apply for. Please, 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 it'll be in your best interest to go ahead and complete that and let us know. It'll be short and sweet. We won't take up a lot of your time, but we would like to be able to track the success of the event. And then that'll let us know if we should continue to do them in the future. And then lastly, we are going to have a live job fair that will be a lot bigger than what we have here. And that's going to be next month, the 14th. I should know it by heart. Let me look at the date. But it will be I'm sorry.
Thursday, June 17th.
Thank you. It will be at the Wilma Rudolph Event Center. And I'm sure that we will, we have your email addresses now, but not to bug you, we'll probably send you an invitation to that as well. That you will not have to register for. So you can tell your friends as well. So again, thank you. If you want to stay for the transit session, sit tight. And for Scott and Chris, thank you so much for participating today. And I'm pretty sure that they'll be accessible to you guys if you have questions outside of this. You can reach them through email.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sheila.
Thanks, Sheila. Thanks, Tessa.